Okay. I've been doing this a long time, about 10 years now. I've been talking about anime for about 8 of that. I've worn some really weird stuff over the years, is my point. You know, funny outfits and crazy hats and creepy, somewhat disturbing masks. I think this is probably within the top 5, maybe even top 3. You know, this actually might be the freakiest. I don't know. Vote below. I'm just gonna take this off now. Wait, hold on a second. Oh my god! Okay, I'm just gonna take this off now, but I'm just gonna set it right here, you know, so we never forget the joy of laughter. All right, so today's question comes to us from Adam S. This is a question and answer show. I mean, it always has been. I mean, I don't know what you guys are smoking. Like, I've been doing this for 8 years or so. Every single video has been in response to a question. You guys must just be missing the parts of the video where I read the question. It happens at the start of every single one. All right, this question comes to us from Adam S. Why was Raizo named specifically on Zo instead of the other scabbards? How did Jack know Raizo was on Zo? All right. Well, Adam, this is from a super chat, by the way, that I did yesterday when I did a stream. And I don't know if you realize this, Adam, but that question is in reference to a theory that's been around in the One Piece community for a while, ever since the Zo arc, so it's been a number of years. I don't know if you knew that theory and you were just weighing in on what I thought about it, or if you didn't know about it at all and you just came up with it on your own, but yeah, you stumbled upon something known as the Zo Traitor theory. Woo! It implies that there was a traitor on Zo. I know, it's okay. So look, here's the deal, and this happened pretty much as soon as Zo concluded, and if you just put like a few seconds of thought into actually how this went down, how did Jack find Zo, first off? That was something that was never really addressed, okay? Zo, or Zunisha, is a giant elephant with a country on its back. You cannot find that thing by normal means. It's known as the Phantasmal Island or the Mirage Island, okay? It's constantly moving. The New World is already a dangerous place. I mean, you could just set sail and start looking for it, but, you know, you might end up encountering some other danger in the process, right? Now, there's a few ways to do it. Like, for example, Law had a Vivre card that was Beppo's, and the Heart Pirates split up. You know, Law went over to Punk Hazard, the rest of the Heart crew stayed on Zo. So, all Law had to do was just follow the Vivre card, and eventually, no matter where Zunisha went, it would always point to Beppo, who is located on Zo. Now, there's problems with the Vivre card. I made a whole video addressing that. Like, it doesn't warn you of the danger, it doesn't even tell you how far it is, or if there's anything in the way, it just tells you in a straight line that's where the, you know, the owner of this Vivre card is. Okay, so that's one way you could do it. It was also stated that I think the Minks just have like a natural animal homing instinct to Zo, because that's the place that they're all born. So no matter where they go off into the world, you know, as long as they have the means, like a boat and everything, just like a natural animal navigation, they'll always have like a natural compass that points to their homeland. Okay, so that's another way they could have found it, all right? Now, we've actually seen this done before, like, for example, with Baltigo. You know, Jesus Burgess was on Baltigo, and he was, like, contacting the rest of the Blackbeard crew, just follow my Vivre card and you'll find this island, you know, so as the theory goes, it's very likely that one of the Minks was a traitor working for Kaido's crew, and Kaido's crew, the Beast Pirates and Jack, would then have a Vivre card of that particular Mink that would allow them to go back to Zo, or locate it whenever they wanted to, okay? That's one thing. There's another theory out there, and this is something that I actually enjoy. So you know Hawkins' crew, right? I don't think Hawkins' crew was ever given a name. It might just be like the Hawkins Pirates. Hawkins does not seem like somebody that's really creative, all right? It might be like the Tarot Pirates, I don't know. But on Hawkins' crew, there is a Mink. He's a kitty cat. His name is Faust, okay? Few weird things with Faust. On top of just being a mink, Faust, as in the reference to making a Faustian deal, exchanging your soul for something, for the devil, like trade my soul for all the knowledge in the world, or riches as bountiful as I could ever spend, something like that. That's where the reference comes from. So if you're going to have like a mink sell themselves out to some sort of great power like the Beast Pirates, it would probably be the guy named after the character that did that. And Hawkins is a headliner on Kaido's crew. So it's not entirely impossible that after Hawkins joined up, became a headliner, his crew also joined up, and they're like, we got word that Raizo of the Mist is hiding out on Zou. We need to find it. And then Faust just, speaks up and he's just like, meow. I'm assuming he just talks like a cat. Meow. I know where the location of it is. And, and he just points them to where it is. He might have even been part of the crew that went there. We just maybe didn't see him. Who knows? Or if it's another case, then it would have to be a mink that's currently living on Zou that has a Vivara card. Now, that's a little bit more dicey there, to have a mink already living, because it's not even like... minks are allowed to leave Zunisha. They can if they want. It's not like they're kept there against their will. But it would be kind of weird for a mink to be like, alright everybody, I'm gonna set sail now, and they leave Zou, the place they've been their entire lives, they leave, and then somehow get tied up in the Beast Pirates, and they decide to turn against their own kind, and then they decide to go back to Zou, like, hey everybody, I'm back, I'm totally not a traitor now, and then, luring other people to their island, to Zunisha, with a Vivara card. That seems a little bit dicey how exactly that would work, right? I think it makes more sense that, like, Faust, or another mink in the employ of the Beast Pirates, Faust is just the only one we're aware of, was the one that actually pointed them to, like, you want to go to Zou? All you gotta do is just, I'll point you in the right direction. There you go. Now, that's only just one half of this question, or one half of this theory in general. That's part of the theory that began, like I said, like years ago, right after Zou. Recently, and Adam touches upon the other part of this, something else kind of comes to mind. How did Jack know Raizo was there specifically? And that's something that has kind of bugged me, okay? Because the way we apparently got this is that Jack stomps on Zou like, where's Raizo? We know he's here. Where is he? He didn't ask for Kinemon. He didn't ask for Momo. He asked specifically for Raizo. Alright, I'm gonna have to go step by step here, so don't lose track, okay? 20 years ago, at least in the context of the story, 20 years ago, Kaido and Orochi take over Wano. Lady Toki, in an act of desperation, uses her magical time powers to send 5 people into the future 20 years. Kinemon, Kanjuro, Raizo, Momo, and Okiku. Alright? So, 1 second, Kaido and Orochi, they're storming the entire place. They're burning down Odin Castle. They killed Odin himself. They killed Lady Toki not long after that. Hiyori and Kawamatsu managed to get away, and those 5 people get sent to the future, alright? Now, they get sent to the future. Kaido and Orochi, Orochi's paranoid, but Kaido and the crew, they pretty much just think, oh, alright, they're dead. They died in the fire, alright? Because they just vanished out of nowhere, alright? And then they erect gravestones to everybody, Raizo, Kinemon, at the burned out ruins of the castle, and Kaido and everybody just start going about controlling all of Wano and, deforesting it and setting up factories, and that continues for 20 years, alright? Now, 20 years in the future, those 5 arrive in the current present-day Wano. Okiku decides to stay in the country to try to just go around and amass as much information as possible. A lot of stuff has changed in 20 years. He's just trying to get the lay of the land to figure out what's all going on. The other 4, Momo, Kinemon, Kanjuro, and Raizo, decided to leave Wano and set out to sea. Their destination was Zou. They wanted to find Zou so they can enlist Inuarashi and Nekomamushi and the Minks as backup to help them here. Now, in the process of trying to leave Wano to commandeer a vessel, because it's illegal to leave the country, they were spotted. Now, we don't know exactly how they were spotted. If they were spotted in the sense of like, hey, there's a ship leaving the country, we have to follow them. If it was just like that, like they didn't actually see who they were, they just saw them leaving, or if it was like another thing that was like, oh, we specifically saw them, they're Kinemon and Kanjuro and Raizo, they're still alive, alright? That's kind of a little weird to me, because these people were gone for 20 years, presumed dead. There were probably even members of the Beast Pirates that are younger that probably never even saw Kinemon in their lives. So, I'm just saying, it's a little weird if you spot some people leaving a country and they go to stop them and they instantly think, oh, yeah, I know you guys. You guys were those people that are supposed to be dead 20 years ago. You're still alive, That's a little weird that they would recognize them that quickly, like, oh, we know exactly who you guys are. You know, that seems a little weird, but okay, fine. They leave the country, but they got spotted, alright? There was a storm while they were at sea. Raizo got separated during that storm and drifted to Zou. So that's how Raizo arrived on Zou. Then, they managed to reach Dressrosa after the storm. Kanjuro got kidnapped, and then Kinemon and Momo left. They got away on a tanker that was headed for Punk Hazard, and then that's how Kinemon met the Straw Hats, and Momo ate the Devil Fruit and all that stuff. Okay, alright, so there's a lot of different stages to this, okay? But the thing that we gotta be most important about here is that they were spotted leaving the country, and then Raizo got separated and drifted to Zou. Even if you give the Beast Pirates enough credit to assume that's like, okay, we know for a fact Kinemon, Kanjuro, Momo, and Raizo, they're all still alive, they somehow managed to lay low for 20 years, and now they're escaping the country. Let's just give them the benefit of the doubt and say that they just accepted this as truth. They didn't even really question what happened or where they've been for the last 20 years, they just accepted that. Okay, even with that being the case, nobody else was around during that storm when Raizo got separated and drifted to Zou. Alright? Nobody else apparently saw Raizo get there. It seemed to imply Raizo drifted ashore at Zunisha, spent some time there, told all of the Minks, Inuarashi, Nekomamushi about all the stuff that happened with Lady Toki and everything, and then a few weeks later, that's when Jax came stomping to town, asking specifically for Raizo. Alright? The only way that this makes sense to me is that there had to be a Mink on Zou that was a mole for Kaido and the Beast Pirates. It's the only way that would have made sense. Alright? Which also means that there would have had to be, like, my previous, hypothesis that I didn't really like very much has to be kind of accurate. You know, a Mink at one point left the island, left their homeland, found Wano and the Beast Crew or whatever, and decided to ally with them and just forsake their entire clan, which there's not very many Minks left in the world, just completely just disregard them, and then travel back to Zou and stay there, learning, like, when Raizo shows up and learns everything about Raizo, like, oh, Raizo, crazy, man, that's nuts. Coming in, yes, Raizo's here on Zou, yeah, send out, yeah. Also, keep in mind, they sent freaking Jack, a calamity, to this island. Alright? So they aren't kidding around here. They knew Raizo was on that island. And just keep in mind how, steadfast Jack was. Now, Jack is a little thick-headed, let's be honest here, and he just laid waste to the island and just wrecked the place, and he kept like, where's Raizo? And the Minks were very steadfast. They're like, he's not here, we don't know where he is, just quit destroying our homeland. And Jack is like, I don't care, he's definitely here. Now, you could chalk that up to just Jack being like, no, he's definitely here. I know he is. I'm getting him. Like, even though he didn't actually know if he was or not, it's just like, oh no, well, I guess you don't mind if I search the place a little bit. Or, no, it might be an actual thing, like, he was given direct intel. No, Raizo is definitely on this island. And Jack's like, alright, well, doesn't matter what these Minks say. He's definitely here, 100%. I know he's here because I was told he's here by our, like, sleeper agent or whatever, so I'm gonna beat the crap out of this place until I find him, alright? Eventually resorting to Caesar's gas weapon, and then Jack had to end up leaving to try to save Doflamingo, because that was like a distraction that helped him, basically, I mean, not great, the Minks were still ravaged by the gas weapon and everything, but it got Jack to at least leave, and then he was like, alright, then I'll come back later or whatever. Alright, so this raises a few more questions here. Faust doesn't exactly work for this because Faust was still a member of Hawkins' crew at this point. I mean, I guess it's possible for maybe after Hawkins joined up with Kaido, Faust decided to be that, like, undercover operative and return to Zou. But that would be kind of like shooting up a flare into the air kind of thing, right? Like, hey, the second that Faust decided to return to his homeland, like a few days later, all of a sudden Kaido's crew shows up. Jack's here. Isn't that strangely coincidental? You know, like, so that would be kind of like an obvious thing. And of course, we didn't see Faust when the Straw Hats were there, unless he ducked out. Then again, I guess it's always possible that Faust, if he's a black cat, cats are really stealthy, he doesn't exactly have to return to Zunisha and be open with his presence. He doesn't have to be like, hey everybody, I'm back! It's possible Faust, you know, used his natural homing instincts, his natural compass, to locate Zunisha, kind of sneak on board, and just on board, it's an elephant, you know, I'm boarding the elephant! Just kind of hang out in the whale forest, just out of everybody's sights. Maybe he was there when Raizo arrived, and he was like, yeah, he's here, I see him, yeah, come send some people, yeah. And so maybe Faust, you know, just laid low, and then as soon as Jack's crew showed up, you know, it's like, okay, I you know, my end of the deal is over. I told you Raizo's here. He's definitely here, 100%. I'm skipping out. And then, you know, Faust left after that, whether it be on Jack's own ships, or maybe he had his own ship or something. He bailed out. It's also a possibility there. Now, there's another theory regarding this, and Artor actually brought this to my attention. So links to Artor's stuff below, of course, as always. It's a theory I don't really like to talk about very much, because, you know, it's hard, man. It's just really hard. There's actually a theory, though, that the traitor is Carrot. I'm sorry, I need a moment. Okay. So, recently, there was, the reveal of a panel that Oda drew. Remember that panel? I think it was in chapter 920, 921. It was the chapter where we found out the history of Kinemon. Like, he was explaining, you know, okay, we're time travelers and all that crap. There was a panel where you see Odin Castle burning down in front of the scabbards, in front of Kinemon and Kawamatsu and everybody. And in the, this isn't literally, but like over the castle's like burning, smoldering ruins, there's an image of Kaido kind of looming in the background, like Kaido was the cause of this. And then off on the other side of the panel, there was an expanded section more than the regular chapter. In the regular chapter, you could just see the three calamities. You could see Queen and King and Jack. But in this extra edition, I believe this was in the One Piece magazine, it was expanded a little bit so you could see another figure in the background that looked vaguely bunny-esque. Well, you know, it's not necessarily a rabbit. I mean, there's a lot of animals that have large, poofy ears. Like, it could be, it could be a beagle. You know, beagles, I used to have a beagle. His name was Lucky. He was the best damn dog ever. He had floopy ears. It could be that. It doesn't have to be a rabbit. I'm like, yeah, it's a rabbit. So that led Artor and a lot of other people to think, I mean, how could you not think it? I mean, all kidding aside, I mean, it looks like Carrot. It looks like an outline of a bunny mink, and the most prominent bunny mink that we're aware of, the only bunny mink, I believe, is in fact Carrot. So, all right, we got some problems here. You know, now, here's a few issues with this. For number one, this scene took place 20 years ago. All right, so that Carrot's only 15. We found this out in the latest Vivera card. So unless Carrot is like a vampire or something, you know, this isn't her. It just looks remarkably like her. Now, also keep in mind, smiles are a thing. You know, we have yet to see a rabbit smile user, so there could be another prominent member, maybe a member of the 6 flying headliners or something. We just assume that the 6 flying headliners are all dinosaurs, but not necessarily. You know, there might be a smile user that uses the rabbit, you know, artificial zone, and that's them right there. It could be Carrot's mom. I mean, that's kind of digging at the bottom of the barrel at Carrot's mom, but I mean, granted, we don't know anything about Carrot's parents, so it's not impossible. And hey, that might actually help Carrot's chances of becoming a Straw Hat, because let's think about this for a second. What do every Straw Hat need to have? They need to have a tragic backstory. I mean, granted, Carrot already saw her mentor, Pedro, you know, blow himself up in front of her eyes. That was pretty intense there. That's already a tragic backstory. But how much more of a tragic backstory would it be to find out that your own mother, who was also a rabbit mink, helped out a bunch of people burn down Wano? Like, that would be a tragic backstory. Like, my mom was evil? I thought she told me she left to go gather carrots and she never came back. I thought she got lost on the way to the carrot store. But she was actually a member of the Beach Pirates. Who knew? You know, tragic backstory achieved 100%. Carrot can join now. All right? So, you know, I'm just gonna go along with that line of reasoning because I still like to sleep at night, and I'm not gonna be able to sleep at night thinking that Carrot betrayed everybody. Also, she just doesn't like, if she wanted to betray the Straw Hats and have them just die so they wouldn't be a threat to Kaido, I mean, there were plenty of opportunities during Tauntland to do that, you know? Like, she could have, like, you know, directed them some other way, or she could have lied or something, like, oh yeah, guys, it's safe over here. Actually, it's not, you know? There was ways that she could have double-crossed them if she was really that kind of mink. And like I said, she's 15, this was 20 years ago, unless somehow time-traveling crap got involved with her, too. So, yeah. I would say dollars to donuts, probably, like, it's a Smile user, that's a rabbit. I mean, the whole Carrot's mother thing is, like I said, that's kind of, like, scraping the bottom of the theory barrel, but not impossible. It just does seem to me that there was a mink on Zoe that would have been able to get there to begin with, that works for Kaido, and also would be able to witness Raizo's arrival to report back said arrival. So I think the fact that there is a traitor in the Minks makes sense. There's also another skew of this theory, that it's not a mink that's the traitor, it's one of the scabbards that's a traitor. I really don't approve of that, because then that would mean, like, it would have to be, like, the only scabbards that were present that knew that Raizo was drifting to Zoe, or was going to meet them at Zoe, would have been Kinemon and Kanjuro. Momo was there as well. But if Momo's the traitor, then what the hell are we even doing here right now? You know, like, it turns out Momo was evil all along. He walked, like, they're about to take on Kaido. He's like, yeah, I'm Kaido. And everyone's like, get back, Momo. And then Kaido's like, come here, my son. And then Momo just pushes everybody aside and walks over to Kaido. And, like, Kaido's like, whoa. And everyone's like, Momo, no. It's like, well, what are we even doing then, you know? Like, so Momo can't be the traitor. Kinemon is one of the most loyal people to Oden. You saw the tears in his eyes. He's the leader of the scabbards, for God's sake. He can't be the traitor. That only leaves Kanjuro, and I guess it's not 100% impossible that Kanjuro is a traitor, but come on, man, you don't do that to Kanjuro, alright? So, yeah, I don't like the idea the scabbards are any of the traitors. I like to think that it's like, or at least not those scabbards specifically. Hey, maybe Raizo's the traitor. Did you ever think of that? Maybe Raizo was the traitor and ratted himself out! Okay, that doesn't make any sense. But yeah, I don't like that idea. I like the idea, it's like, okay, the simplest way, the way that would make the least amount of pain and suffering yield from my heart, you know, would be, it's just Faust. Yeah, Faust on Hawkins' crew. He's the one responsible for everything because he's Faust. He's an evil kitty cat, and that's the reason, alright? That still doesn't explain the Smile. That doesn't explain the bunny, but that could just be a Smile user, and just explain that away. That way, everything's good. Everything's set. Everything's good. Don't have to worry about getting Carrot involved, and she can still join the crew by the end of the arc. Okay. We all set with that? Alright, I am. Alright, so, thanks, Adam, for the question. And thanks to everybody for watching. This will be Tekking101 signing out. You know, the video is pretty much over, but I'm just gonna kind of sit here for, like, I don't know, like about 15 uninterrupted seconds and just kind of stare at you. Bye.